Good morning or good day to you, wherever you are. I'm Sue Johnson, and this is my YouTube video. I guess it's mostly about senior living, what it's like to become a senior, what it's like to live every day as a senior. And I posted various subjects, but two main interests: outdoors items and knitting. That's what I'm doing. I'm working on a sweater now. This would be a good day to wear it if I had it finished, which I don't. I just wanted to let you know that one reason for the delay in my posting this week is because there have been a few other things on the go, both with Stanley and myself. Now, Stanley is looking towards his March 1st eye surgery date. He's getting laser surgery done. That's going to remove cataracts from his eyes and give him some great vision. So if he's willing, I may do an interview about that later on, an interview with him. And for me, well, let me see. I have some precancerous cells, and I've been going through some tests, and I also have two nodules here that are quite large and swollen, and some additional swelling down in probably more the thyroid glands, which my doctor is looking after. So the thing is, as a senior, there's one thing I did not want to do getting older. I didn't want to be the senior that was always going to the doctor. And I guess sometimes that's unavoidable. I know they say that your health is number one, and yet, and I get that, but I've never wanted health issues, medical issues, to be the number one thing over my life, especially going into my senior years. I want to enjoy life. I want to discover and experience things, life events. There's all kinds of stuff out there to enjoy, and I want to continue to do that. I want my years to be marked with joy. So that's my aim. So for me, the health issues has to take a little bit of a back burner issue, which means that it's like having a stew simmering on the back burner of your stove. You go and you stir the pot every now and again, you check it, you taste it, maybe you might add some spices, you give it some attention, and then eventually you get hopefully a great tasting stew that you can enjoy. Hence, joy in life. And I want health issues to be that. At first, when they told me about the precancerous cells, and then I noticed the swelling, and two doctors are on my team, and both of them are concerned about that. At first, I was like, oh, all consumed. I got to find out about this. I got to research it. I got to look at WebMD. I have to look at the Mayo Clinic. What's going on? Is it this? Is it that? And then I realized I've got to stop this because I don't have enough information. I'm not trained enough. Even the doctors don't have enough information to say definitively what is going on with the swelling, what's going on with the other issues. So we don't have enough information to write the end story. Meanwhile, the story that I can write on my life is the things that I actually have control over. I have control over submitting, sort of. You run into errors there. I have control over what I say, where I go, what I want to do. And it doesn't mean the end of dreams, wishes, desires. So I can still focus on those things and work towards them. So yeah, I'm still thinking about camping. And yes, even if I have a very negative diagnosis, I still have choices. We always have choices. And we have booked two camping sites for May and for July so far, and I'm going to them. That's it. Whatever happens to me, everything else is going to revolve around that. It's not going to be medical issues and the rest of my life revolving around that. And that's heat up now. It's normal. Anyway, okay, so we took a trip to St. Jacobs. It's a wonderful place full of Mennonite country people, and there's a mix of people there. And so I'm going to share that trip with you. It was our little day trip. And I think in the video, when I videotaped Stanley, I think he said something about bringing joy into Susie's life. Great husband I have. All right. So, and that's the other thing you have to do no matter what you're going through. you have to have that list of, these are all the really good things in my life, even if you just start off with 3 and focus on those. So life issues, as your senior, you will get medical issues, but try to focus on the good. I have this thing, I used to sign off all my e-counseling letters with, always expect the best. And so I come back to that and I say, Susan, is that what you're doing? Are you expecting the best? And sometimes it's just a matter of changing your thinking and changing your attitude. Yes, that's where I'm headed. I'm headed towards a place of excellence. Always expect the best. And that's what I'm going to focus on. So meanwhile, you guys can focus on St. Jacobs. And if you're inclined one day, you might want to take a trip there. It's a great place to visit. Where are we going today, sir?
We are headed over to St. Jacobs Market, where they have a great display of all kinds of goodies that are made by hand, and lots of snacks, lunches.
A lot of Mennonite stuff there.
A lot of Mennonite stuff.
Because it's Mennonite country.
Mennonite people who are very well respected around here because they are honest, full of integrity, hard workers. And they do make some good things. They make good furniture. And we just like seeing them driving along the highway in their little buggies. Some haven't got graduated to a black car. That's the next level. But they just drive along a horse and buggy, and they must be frozen this morning because the temperature is about -2 Celsius, although there's no wind.
And that's why we're dressed up.
That's why we're all bundled up in the car, so we get out, we don't have to undress.
Okay. One might say that I live out in farm country, and indeed I do. For some reason, all around me, all around Orangeville, there's farm country. There's a lot of horse farms to the southwest of us, and the southeast has a lot of Mennonite farmland. So, what motivated you to do this today?
Well, I thought it'd be a good day to do something to a little pleasing for my wife, Susan. Get us out. It's a gorgeous day, cold, but in this part of the world, when we're at about the 41st parallel, when you get a day in midwinter that is sunshine all the way, and get a few degrees in there, and the landscape is beautiful. All around us are bushland and plowed fields where the farmers put in what we call the fall wheat. It's plowed and, it's seeded in the fall of the year, and then it goes to sleep. And then it grows up in the spring, and apparently 70% of Canada's wheat is fall wheat. So anyway, we're driving along here, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I can't find a cloud in the sky, and everybody's being sensible driving, although the roads are dry, but I can see people are being somewhat cautious. Anyway, I brought it to this morning to Susie for a bit of joy.
On this trip, this drive, which is about an hour and 10 minutes, we passed through a number of very old, mostly Scottish towns, and one is Fergus, another one is Elora, and then we go through Wellington County and then into St. Jacobs. I love these old-fashioned Ontario towns, and one day I feel like I'd like to do a video series on that, just visit a lot of the old-fashioned Ontario towns. A lot of the buildings were stonework, built by hand, of course, no machinery involved, and a lot of brick. So, of course, like most towns, some of the buildings have been modernized, some have been torn down, some crumbled down and have been rebuilt. But in a lot of cases, even when they rebuild a building, they try to keep the same sort of old fashioned style or look to it so that they can keep the integrity and culture of the town. So it's a lot of fun traveling through these places, and they're a lot of fun to walk through and visit the old shops and just look at all the handiwork and items that are on sale. I enjoy doing that. A neat little pub called the Breadalbane Inn is a great little place to stop, and Stanley and I have done that and sat out in the patio in the summer. And it's notable by its Scottish, I don't know what that guy is called. Anyway, it's a tree carving. Then we get into Wellington County, and the building way off in the distance there is a big historical archive building where you can actually search out some of your family records if you have those in the area. And then we get to Elora. Elora is fun because that's where Stanley and I had our honeymoon. We stayed at a little place called the Gingerbread Cottage, which has been revised and now is an ice cream shop. I can't imagine. There must be somebody living in the old part of the building because there was a lot of rooms. But it was very quaint, and as a bed and breakfast place, we had a lot of fun. We had a private cottage for ourselves, and they brought in breakfast for us. And then we moved into the big part of the house up in the attic, and we enjoyed sitting down for breakfast with all the other people that were staying at the bed and breakfast. So it was a lot of fun, great memories. I love the hills in this part of the drive, the up and down nature. It's a lot of fun. One time on a Sunday morning, we were driving and we got down into the gully of one of these hills, and the police stopped us. It was 11 o'clock in the morning, and they stopped us for a road check, no kidding, and asked when was the last time we had a drink. So that was kind of fun. Every time I go down through these places now in these little gullies, I remember that. I sometimes wonder if it was a police officer in training because there was a male and female, and she was the one asking all the questions, which was kind of cute. So, anyway, we weren't drinking and we were heading out to St. Jacobs on a sunny Sunday morning, something like today. In making this video, I wasn't quite sure at what point I should include road video or just cut it off and eliminate it. But I've watched other videos where they're on a drive and taking us places, and I've enjoyed looking around. And as I watch this one, I can almost feel the dips and curves in the road as I watch it, dips and curves that I experience. So I don't know if you would have that. Here's some of the farmland, a lot of really rich, dark soil. And the farmers say the more snow we have, the better it is because it helps hydrate the land and makes conditions great for growing in the spring. And again, it's a lot of Mennonite country. My friend pointed out to me that some of these Mennonite farms do not have any electrical wires heading over to the buildings, and that's because they're still using an old fashioned system, wood stoves for heating, oil lamps, and things of that nature. And then we have some Vineland. The more you head towards Niagara Falls, and this is probably about St. Jacobs, it's about an hour north of Niagara Falls. The more you head towards in that direction south, the more Vineland you discover. I have to add a little story here. This is funny. We were coming to a roundabout, and I don't know, well, I'm sure they have them in the US somewhere, and they have a lot of them in Ireland and England. But we came to this roundabout and we're familiar with it. I know it's the second street on the right that we turn onto to get to St. Jacobs. So it's a roundabout. And Stanley forgot the turn. He wasn't in the right lane to make a right hand turn, which should have been right there. So we ended up going roundabout. That was kind of fun. Good thing we didn't do it more than once because I get dizzy very easily. That's something that happens with your inner ear balance. It changes as you age. And we're coming up to our right turn. And that's the peanut factory on the left. And then there's a log home building place on the right. And the Second road on our left is our turn for St. Jacobs, but we missed that one too. No problem. Went down another street and we connected up and finally made it through the old fashioned town of St. Jacobs, which basically was established by Mennonite people. It's a wonderful town to visit. A lot of handcrafts there. I remember purchasing a quilt there. You can get a lot of handmade quilts, a lot of really, really neat things. A lot of artisans place their wares in some of these shops along the street. Now, where we're headed is towards the St. Jacobs Market, which is a really big outdoor market during the warmer seasons, but they still have three barns and everything is indoors. And we have fun going cruising around through the buildings and buying things.
So what do you think?
Make a left for parking. You go along?
You've got a good memory.
I do. Look at all those socks. Amazing. You too can have a booth like this. Our senior neighbors, who are both 85 and celebrating their 65th anniversary this year, will be having some parties, May and April. So I was trying to find something that you could buy for a senior that's unique to their personality. What do they like? And they definitely like gardening. And they have a lot of these neat little things out in their backyard. So I thought this might be the perfect gift for them. I didn't purchase on this particular trip, but I'm thinking about stuff and I'm going to go back and get something once I figure out what they would like. They do have gnomes, they're German, and they have gnomes in their backyard, and so maybe that's an option. Buying a lot of used books at the market is great. You can find rare copies. This is where we decided to have our lunch. It was all this sort of vegetable and cheese toppings on natural nachos, and that was very yummy. So this is building 3, and it also had burned down and was rebuilt. And they try to include the Mennonite style in the structure and design of the building. So it's actually way better than the old building that used to be there. It has a lot of fun. There's 2 floors, and you'll find a huge variety of things, even cultural stores. Like there's an African store there that sells actually things imported from Africa that the people have made. There's a lot of different ethnicities, is that the right word? A lot of different cultural things available. This is some of the outdoor market, which was on that day because it was sunny, cold but sunny. But during the summer, there are rows upon rows of tents up and people selling their wares. It's a really fun place to go, and sometimes you get really good bargains, especially in hand cured meats and vegetables and things that come in from the farmers' fields. This was my purchase at a little antique store that was in the building number 3. Some stencils that I hope to use, and I bought some jewelry, little cat earrings, and a little cat brooch. Again, great prices on these products and items that I can't buy anywhere else. Hope you enjoyed this video, and you'll stick around for a few more. We are trying to fulfill that goal of just enjoying life. Cheers.